Producing a film is one of the most exciting things that I've done in my entire life. But with most things in life, there is also a flip side. Today in this video, I want to walk you through 12 great things that you will experience if you work as a film producer. But I will also tell you about the flip side. Depending on your interests and your personalities, each of these things could be something that is really fun and exciting, or it could be something that is just dreadful and exhausting. So very briefly, what are independent films anyway? A very simple way to describe independent films are those films that are produced outside the major Hollywood film studios such as Paramount, Disney, and so on. And this could be anything from a smaller film like Another Earth produced by Brit Marling, which was made for $100,000, to The Blair Witch Project, which was purportedly made for $500,000, to an independent film like Juno, which had a budget of $6.5 million. Hollywood studio films, on the other hand, are so big in scale that the producers over there are dealing with a whole different set of additional challenges. And that is why today in this video, I just want to stick to independent film producing. Also keep in mind that the things I'll be discussing here are not country specific, because each country's film industry, the film industry in Korea, in China, in Indonesia, in Canada, will have slight differences or even big differences, especially when it comes to funding. So let's just keep it very simple here and assume that the film funding is private funding, because the idea of this video is just to give you a broad idea about what it's like to be an independent film producer and what you can expect. Now that we got that out of the way, let's start and get into the 12 great things that you will experience if you work as an independent film producer, as well as the flip side. Number one is creative freedom, at least to some extent. If you have a creative vision for a particular film idea, then you as an independent film producer can make it come true. And I'm saying can here, I'm not saying it will come true, because there are so many challenges that you will need to face in order to get that film made. Of course, there will be some shareholders and stakeholders who will have some say about the creative direction of the film. These could be the funders and the investors. And then there are also artistic crew members, for example, the director, who may have his own creative vision for the film that may or may not be aligned with yours. But whatever the particular situation is here, you as the independent film producer ultimately will have the choice whether or not you will go ahead and make that film. You are the one who decides whether a film will get produced or not. And that way, in theory at least, you will not waste your time working on a project that you do not believe in. If this is one of the reasons why you are interested in becoming an independent film producer, then please do let me know by smashing the like button. And now to the flip side. Yes, as an independent film producer, you have relatively more creative freedom. But on the flip side, you also have full responsibility of the whole film project. If things do not go as you expected, for example, that hot air balloon that you wanted to have in a scene crashes, or other shit happens like you're over budget, or there's a thunderstorm, or people bail out because you're not able to pay them on time, then yes, that's also your responsibility. No matter why something didn't work out or who messed up in the production, at the end of the day, it's still your responsibility, and you are still the one who will have to answer to the investors if you run out of money. The other thing is also that in the very beginning, you might have this very clear creative vision, but if throughout the process you don't hold on to that vision very tightly, then your film, the end product, can very easily divert from your original vision and turn into something that you didn't expect. I really hope that I didn't scare you off with that. The next great thing about being an independent film producer is that it's like having your own startup. In case you ever had your own startup, then you will know exactly what it's like. You call all the shots, you make all the decisions, and you're the boss. Office hours? What are office hours? You can start working and stop working whenever you like. No one will limit how long your lunch break is. In theory, you could take 3-hour naps every day, and you could take a week off from work every now and then. No one will tell you when you work and how you do your work. And while it's true that you will have a lot of flexibility and freedom, the reality is that when you're an independent film producer, you will be working crazy hours. In many cases, much longer hours than at your previous job, unless you work in consulting or banking. If you want to get your film made, then it's much more likely that you will be working 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. You will have sleepless nights, and you will not feel like taking a vacation until your film is done. This film, this baby of yours, will take over your entire life, and in many cases that will take anywhere from 2 to 5 years or even more. By the way, let me know in the comments below what brought you to this video. Are you thinking of becoming an independent film producer? And from what job or career are you changing from? Are you already in the entertainment industry, or are you planning to change from a totally different industry? I would really love to know. I transitioned to filmmaking from a career in banking, and while that might sound like a very drastic change, in reality it wasn't that drastic, because it turned out that there were a lot of transferable skills from my previous career in banking that I could apply as an independent film producer, which brings me to the next great thing. The next great thing about being an independent film producer is that it is a haven for business manager types. As a film producer, you will need to do most of the things that a business manager or a CEO does, plus of course all the other things that are more film specific. If you are the type of person who loves planning, scheduling, collaborating, coordinating, bringing talented people together to make a film, meticulously schedule, plan finances, budgets, if all of these words make you feel excited and euphoric, then yes, this is for you. But if you can't stand working with budgets, if looking at an Excel sheet makes you nauseous, and if looking at schedules just makes you dizzy, then unfortunately no, this is not for you. Film producing is not just about the story, breathtaking cinematography, great acting, all of the fun and exciting stuff. I mean, yes, these are the main ingredients, but there's another side to the coin. Film producing is about so much more. It's about making sure that the money works, that everyone gets paid, and that you don't get sued because someone falls off from some ladder. A film producer is someone who starts the project and finishes it, someone who is still there long after everyone else has completed their work and is gone. Have you ever hosted a party? If you have, then you know how tiring it can be. So the film producer is the one who plans the party, who runs the party, who cleans up the last breadcrumbs that are lying around on the floor, and then takes the broom and returns it to the closet. The next great thing is that you get to work with an oftentimes big team of super talented and diverse people. But I work for this large IT company that also has all of these super talented people. Yes, but the difference is that as an independent film producer, you are the one who chooses the people who you want to work with. You are the one who recruits the people in your team. So you'll be able to work with the best people. That is, of course, if you can afford them and if you can get them on board. In any case, you will likely choose to work with those people whose work you admire and people who you think, I stress the word think here, you can have a great working relationship with. For example, if you have the money and the connections, you could in theory work with Ryuichi Sakamoto or Hans Zimmer, but you could also as well work with an up-and-coming indie band in your city. And it's so exciting working with people who are experts in their area, and you can learn so much from them. So what's the flip side? When I say working with a lot of people, that could be anywhere from 50 people to 200 people or even more, even on a smaller production. And yes, there is an organizational structure that manages the traffic and the communication between these people. But ultimately, if there are problems, if there is conflict and this escalates, then everyone will look to you for a solution and a decision. And with so many people working on one and the same project, each of them having different interests, tastes, and opinions, friction and tension is bound to happen. So many times I heard people in this industry say, everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Murphy's Law of film production. So if you don't like working with that many people, and if you cannot handle conflict and tension, then unfortunately, this is not for you. So let's now get to a more relaxing and fun aspect. The lifestyle of an independent film producer is a lifestyle of off-site meetings. Unless you have a really nice budget or you have a bigger production company collaborating with you, in many cases you will not be able to rent a production office for the entire duration of your film production, starting from the development until it's completed. Let's just say, as an example, that you need 2 years to produce your film end to end, which is quite fast. On a very low budget, you'll likely only be able to rent a base camp for a couple of months, which is a few months before production, which is is also called pre-production, and the month or the 2 months of production. And this means that in the very, very early phases of development, when you are still at the stage where you're talking about the story idea, the plans for the films, you'll likely be meeting with people outside in cafes or at restaurants. Have a meal here and a coffee there, and it can be a very nice change of scenery compared to just sitting in the one and the same office the whole day long. And certain expenses that are directly related to meetings that have the purpose of discussing film-related matters can be covered by your budget. And no, it does not cover your daily bubble tea habit. And this can be quite fun for those kind of people who don't like being tied up to their desk but instead prefer roaming around meeting with people. The flip side is that this can be very stressful for those kind of people who prefer stability and order. If you prefer to work out of one fixed office every day and expect everyone to be coming to you, then you will have a very difficult time as an independent film producer, because most people in this industry equally enjoy having flexibility and autonomy. The next thing is something really exciting. The next great thing about being an independent film producer is that you get to wear multiple hats. You get more insight into what each department does from a bird's eye view. You do many things yourself. You work in multiple roles, but you also get paid for doing these multiple jobs, although it might not be that much. And by doing many things yourself, you can also get a better idea of what a job entails, just in case you want to specialize in and go into that area instead. For example, producer, actor, subtitle artist, marketing manager, trailer editor. These are all the things I've worked as. Or my husband, who was producer, production manager, graphic designer, background editor, and a few more other roles. The smaller the production and the budget is, the more it is usually acceptable to be doing multiple roles. The larger the production, the more there will be an expectation that you hire the perfect person for that job. And while for some people this could be very exciting because they feel that they get to wear multiple hats, on the other hand, if you see it from another perspective, for some people it's not as great because you must wear multiple hats, because in some cases the budget is just so small so that you need to be doing multiple things. It's not a choice any longer, but it's something that you have to do in order to get the film made. We're halfway there, but in the meantime, please let me know in the comments down below whether or not you are still interested in working as an independent film producer after listening to these 6 things I just talked about. The next great thing about working as an independent film producer is learning. You will experience an exponential learning curve. If you at least made a film to completion, then you will have an education that is at least, or I would even say much better than an education that you would get from film school, because you would be doing everything hands-on. The flip side is that you will have to deal with a lot of ambiguity, question marks, problems, and so on. So if you do not have the nerves to be dealing with things that you do not understand yet on a daily basis, then unfortunately this is not for you. By the way, there is this one book that I highly recommend to you, which really helped me in getting my film produced. This book tells you step by step how you can make a proposal that can help you to get the funding, private funding from investors. When I produced my feature films, I read this book and I followed the guide step by step, and I made a proposal that helped me to get investors on board and get my film funded. Let's go on to the next thing. The next great thing about working as an independent film producer is that there is never a dull moment. It's so exciting and change is happening all of the time. It's so fast-paced and you get this adrenaline rush from the excitement. It's meeting after meeting, reviewing, editing, and so on. There's just so much to do, so you'll never get bored. But if you're someone who does not like change and you're not suited for a fast-paced environment, and if you're someone who, if problems pop up, it makes you very anxious, then this is not for you. The next great thing about being an independent film producer, let's admit it, is prestige and the limelight. It would be a lie if a film producer told you that working in the film industry, being a producer, doesn't have this magnetic pull and this prestige attached to it. I'm not saying that it is always the reason why people become independent film producers. I mean, for some people it may be, but I do believe that most independent film producers make films because that is what they truly love doing. But it is a nice added bonus, right? You are the CEO of your film project, and once you release your film, either in the theaters or even online or at a film festival, that feeling is just so great. It's indescribable and unforgettable. And now to the flip side. Everything bad that happens to your project, if you don't make any money from it, or even worse, if your film does not get completed, or if you get bad reviews from the critics, all of that is attached to you and your name, and you will take that wherever you go as long as you're working in the entertainment industry. It's not like when you're working in a mid-management role at some company where you are mostly working behind the scenes. For example, you might be developing some kind of banking product at a bank and you're at a mid-level manager position, and then it turns out that that banking product fails to generate revenue. And in that case, it would usually be the head of business or sometimes even the CEO who would be facing the public and taking the slack while you would quietly disappear into the background. The next great thing about working as an independent film producer is the potential revenue. As a film project is also a business, there is unlimited upside revenue potential. Take, for example, the Blair Witch Project, which is one of the most successful independent film projects. It made $248 million at the box office worldwide, which is 414 times its budget. And of course, not everything went to the filmmakers because there are a lot of costs such as marketing, distribution costs, and there are also a ton of other people involved, but I'm pretty sure that they got a pretty decent chunk of money out of it. The flip side is, and yes, you can guess, that many films don't make money and don't break even. So you could be working on a film for years and years and at the end not make any money apart from the money that you get as a fee for working as a producer. The next thing is something that might be really attractive for those kinds of people who do not like a regular routine schedule all year round. The next great thing about working as an independent film producer is that it's mostly seasonal work. And here I don't mean seasons as in spring, summer, autumn, and winter, but what I mean by seasons here is that there are phases, for example, 1-2 years during which you work very hard, continuously, intensively, but then after that project is finished, you do nothing for a couple of months or even longer. And then you start another film project for 3 or 4 years, for example, and then you do nothing for a while, for a year or so. And of course, there are producers who just keep working and working. And during these breaks, there is still some leftover work to do, but it slows down and it gradually phases out. Having these months or even years in between can help a producer to recover because after all, producing a film is very, very energy consuming. And these breaks in between also would allow a producer to work on other things in case he or she has another job or even another career. The flip side is that income can also and is likely to be very seasonal. As an independent film producer, you only get paid as long as you are working on that film project. As soon as that film is done, you need to go and look for the next source of income. And this is where personal financial management is key. The last great thing, and I would say that this is one of the best things about working as an independent film producer, is watching a film unfold. Producing is crazy hard work, but it's also so exciting and so rewarding to see a film come to life. What started out merely as a log line, a story idea scribbled on a piece of paper or the back of a napkin, evolved into a script and then into a production plan, actors acting out a story, and the director and the editors doing their magic. And you can see what you envisioned in the very beginning gradually taking shape. It does indeed feel like magic. And every crew member will be experiencing something similar to this. But as producer, you will have this macro perspective. You will have this view on how everything, all the components work together. As exciting as it gets, it can be extremely nerve-wracking. Every day you wonder if things will fall apart despite very detailed planning. So if you want to work as an independent film producer, you need to have the nerves, keep calm, and patiently work through everything. Is there anything I missed? I'm pretty sure I missed something because there's just so much to talk about and it's just impossible to cover everything in just 15 minutes. So what do you think about these pluses and minuses? Has it made you more interested or less interested in becoming an independent film producer? In case you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. And in case you're an independent film producer and you've produced a film, then please let me know in the comments below what your experience was like. I would really love to know. If you are someone who wants to make a career change, any kind of career change, then make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I make videos about career change and everything that goes along with it, facing challenges, making progress, dealing with fear, you name it. And also don't forget to hit the notification bell and make sure that it's set to all notifications. And in case you're already part of the gang, then thank you so much for sticking with me to the end. I really appreciate it. If you've been enjoying my content and if you want to support my channel, then you can simply do that by leaving a comment down below, share this video with a friend or on social media, or you can even buy me a coffee through the link in the descriptions below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.